welcome in or welcome back to my channel, Hearing Spirit. This reading is for True Sky Gemini for the month of August. So August is it's the other half of our eclipse season. So this half of the year, this eclipse season, is the total solar eclipse and new moon in True Sky Leo, and it will occur on the 12th of August. The themes will be around releasing pride, stopping the need for constant external applause, and resetting your core creative identity. So this eclipse is very significant as well because it is also conjoined to one of the royal stars. So the royal stars do have a lot of historical significance, even in a type of predictive sense. They are even referred to in the Bible, if that's something that you... Actually, the book of Revelations, I think it's in the Revelations, where it talks about the different ages and things. So Regulus is also known as the heart of the lion. So it's quite a significant eclipse coming up. Not all over the world will be able to see it. However, I think Greenland, I think Iceland, and maybe Spain will be able to see the total solar eclipse, and some other places will be able to see part of it, but not all of it. So then we also have around the end of August, around the 27th to the 28th, depending on where you are, the partial lunar eclipse, and that's a full moon in True Sky Aquarius. So for you, Gemini, quite interesting because depending on what part of the zodiac your Gemini placement or placements are in, the new moon and solar eclipse could be sextiling your Gemini placement, but also the full moon could also be trining your Gemini placement. So it could be actually a really positive month for you. The tension points for the lunar eclipse, the full moon, are around individual self-expression and collective responsibility, group belonging versus individual sovereignty. We also have a grand trine this month, among other aspects as well. So there's quite a few. There's an opposition and there's sextiles involved as well. So it's kind of a little bit like still that Barbeau's basket, but it has shifted a little bit. In fact, there's another True Sky astrologer that talks about it in the sense of Caradwin's cauldron, which I think is quite a beautiful symbolism here. And also I've noticed in your cards when I was pulling them out, there's a few type of vessels in your main spread. On each row there's a vessel, and to me that's kind of what it almost is saying, you know, I mean, the basket, the cauldron, the vessel. I mean, in the central card for you for the month here we have, it looks like a cauldron, doesn't it? And then here at the top for the crowning card, it's like a brazier or a censer or something. And down here we also have the star with the urn as well. So interesting there, kind of synchronicity. And the grand trine is in the True Sky Earth signs. So we've got Venus in Virgo, Uranus in Taurus, and Pluto in Capricorn. These are the true sky signs. So the true sky that I follow on here, sorry, is the 13th sign, true sky. So it's the uneven constellations, and there's 13. I like to talk about Cetus because there is some of that as well, but it's a bit more tricky to add in, I think. But yes, so it will be quite an interesting grand trine. The Venus in Virgo, however, is also opposing Neptune in Pisces, and this is a tension point that I do think for you, Gemini, could be challenging, mostly because Virgo and Pisces are both square Gemini, depending on what part of Gemini your placement or placements are in. So it might not actually affect you very strongly or not at all, depending on what area. Yeah, so there is that potential there. We still do also have Saturn retrograde until the 10th of December, Neptune retrograde until December the 12th, and Pluto retrograde until October the 16th. So there's a couple of retrograde planets involved here as well. Mercury has now moved into true sky Cancer, and so it's kind of given you a bit of a break, Gemini. And also Mars has moved into true sky Gemini, so that might actually give you some energy and some impetus to, you know, get going projects that you may have going on that you might need more energy for, or even liven things up in a passionate kind of sense as well. So on the bottom of the deck, sorry, this deck is called the Tarot of the Sorceress, by the way. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Water for you. So the underlying energies of the month, maybe around, there could be some kind of new romance or new love situation, or just fresh new feelings. Also can be linked to a child. So they would be, say, up to 18 years. Could be your child, or it could be you, or it could be someone else, that's child you're connected with, if it's not yours. And they could be a water sign or have significant water placements in their chart. So the water houses or the ruling water planets significantly placed. So that is the shadow energy of that deck for the month for you. So the first card, however, is the Two of Air. So the first card is quite significant. It does kind of flavor the month, but it also generally is more connected to the beginning of the month. And these top three cards are connected to your crowning card, your third eye, and your throat. So it's quite interesting. So it's up there. It's the higher chakra energy that you have this Two of Air for. And the Two of Air is generally saying that this month will involve a strong decision this month, that you may even find you're quite indecisive. You may feel like you kind of can't make a decision because you're pulled into different directions, and one may be your heart and one may be your head. Then for the crowning card, you have the Ace of Air, so more air energy. However, the Ace of Air does indicate some kind of truth coming to light for you this month. So you may have some kind of sudden realization, and it may even be connected with this decision that needs to be made. Then you have the Hanged Man. So there is some kind of need for a letting go, like a sacrifice in your life this month. There's a need to go within and really think about what it is you're doing, and focus on what you need to do, and focus on what it is you need to let go of. So these are your top chakras. And then the next cards are the central chakra area. So the heart and the solar plexus again, and also the not the solar plexus again, the throat again and the solar plexus. So yeah, we do have that one doubled, the throat here. And you have strength here. So this one is telling me that you really do need to make this decision this month if you can, to be, you know, courageous and gentle, but, you know, to seek your inner strength to help you through this this decision making. And then you actually have your central card for the month, Gemini. You have the Nine of Water, and the Nine of Water is a really positive card on the emotional plane. It does indicate very optimistic energy. It's like a flowing over of positive emotions and positive experiences that are kind of almost holding you up, right? You know, it's very it's like a wish fulfillment energy. So there's some really, really positive energy here for you this month. Maybe you'll even achieve something that that you've been really wishing for. So this strength shouldn't be too hard to gather, having this really positive energy to back you up. And then, and it's also linked to that truth as well. Then you have the Two of Water. So the Two of Water is often linked to love. It can indicate a situation where there is reciprocal situations. So a loving situation. It doesn't have to be love. It can be friendship. It could be business, depending on what area of your life is significant at the moment. And here it is indicating that it is linked to this this sacrifice energy, but it's also linked to this overflowing optimistic energy as well. Then you have, for the base 3 cards, you've got the base chakra, you've got the solar plexus, and you've got the sacral. And you have the 8 of Fire here. So the 8 of Fire in one of these lower cards is really going to give you a boost of energy, which is interesting because I was talking about earlier that Mars is in your sign in the true sky, because that is the kind of energy I was thinking. You know, it's kind of like that energy that just, you know, wants to get out there and do things and get going and even potentially fight, but not in a, you know, so much of an aggressive sense, but in a kind of conquering sense. Then you have the 7 of Fire as your base of the matter for the month. So this also gives you a lot of energy. It's a situation where you really feel like you need to fight, which is funny that I did kind of say that conquering energy earlier. So it's very much about defending yourself, defending your point of view, you know, facing up to things, but also struggling against adversity. It's not a really negative fighting energy though. It really is about like standing your ground, that kind of thing. So that's really lovely as well, because you do have that 9 of Water there, which is saying that, you know, you have this really positive energy there. So, you know, whatever it is you're going to try this month to conquer, it's a good month for you, Gemini. Then you have the Star card. So the Star is all about your hopes and wishes. It's the light that appears when you've been struggling and going through really, really hard times. And it's that, you know, it kind of gives you that sense of belief in higher powers, and, you know, it's got that wish magic attached to it. So it's interesting that you do have not only the 9 of Water wish fulfillment card, but then you've also got these hopes and wishes with the Star, and they both channel up here to the 2 of Air. So I think ultimately, whatever decision you make, I think it's going to be a really successful one for you, Gemini, for the month. The next deck that I have for you is the Under the Oak Tarot. And on the bottom of the deck, we actually have the Justice card for you. And this is to clarify the Page of Water. So potentially this Page of Water, which could be, like I said, new love, like new emotions in a situation, but it could also be a child. It's very like childlike energies. The Justice card is saying that, you know, whatever is apparent here. So if it's a child, you know, they are going to experience a sense of justice. But if it's also a new sense of a new relationship or a new love coming in, it's going to feel like a sense of justice. Like it's something that seems deserving. It's something that seems appropriate. It's something that seems right. It's got that kind of energy. Then for the Two of Air, you have the Hierophant. So interesting combination. The Two of Air was about the decision making and that potential to not want to make a decision. The Hierophant is linked to authority figures. Generally, those that are higher up can be spiritual or religious, but can be just like government officials or people that are in kind of powerful positions within their field. So it may actually mean that because you do have that underlying energy of justice as well, it may even mean that you might need help with this decision making. You might actually need to see a professional. So depending on what it is that's going on in your life, you do have that underlying that shadow energy of the justice. So maybe this is a situation that involves the law or order in some way. So you might need to see someone that is, you know, appropriate for that decision here. Then you have, for the Ace of Air, you have the Four of Swords. So like I was saying earlier, there might be some kind of insights this month about like sudden realizations and messages of truth coming in. The Four of Swords is more of it's actually generally a sign that you are quite exhausted and that you really need to invest in your rest, recuperation, recovery, restoration. You really need to spend as much time as you can, you know, obviously depending on your circumstances, to let your nervous system restore itself because you've kind of been overwhelmed with what's going on. So make sure that you try and do that this month in whatever way it is. I mean, Gemini, I know you're a very intellectual, active type of sign. So it has to be in a way, obviously, that you will find relaxing and that will help your nervous system. Then for the Hanged Man, you have the Knight of Pentacles. So that's interesting. So this was about the sacrifice energy, that letting go. There's something that, you know, you need to let go of. And here you have a Knight of Pentacles. It could be that the Knight of Pentacles is someone in your life. So they could be like 18 to 35 age range. They don't have to be a male. They can be a female. In fact, this card actually has a picture of a female on it. But yeah, it's really not important, that sense of it. But they would be quite a practical, stable type of character. However, the Knight of Pentacles is known to be the slowest knight in the deck. So if this isn't a person in your life, it could even be something within yourself that you're developing. You know, this sense of stability and dependability, and even they are involved with finances and resources as well. However, like I said, they are quite slow. So maybe the sacrifice is about that, you know, you don't want this slow energy, or maybe you don't want to focus on the material stuff right now either, because the Pentacles is all linked to the earth and the material realm. Then here, or maybe even there's something you need to sacrifice so you can attain that too. So it really depends. For the Strength card, you actually have the Magician, which is quite an interesting combination as well. You know, there was that sense of inner courage needing to help you with your decision making. Here with the Magician, it's definitely saying you need to manifest this. So whether it is you're writing it down or you're meditating, but you need to be seeding what it is you want. in some sense. Because you have the Hierophant there too, obviously it's still important that you get help from someone that's qualified in the area that you need help in, but you really need to kind of write your intentions down and focus on what it is that you are trying to manifest at this time. So for the Nine of Water, that central card of that wish fulfillment, wish card, and also just optimism and positive experiences, you have the Lovers. So it's interesting because this is Gemini's card. The Lovers is linked to Gemini, also Venus and Mercury, and it can indicate a new relationship or two relationships, that one that will lead one path and one that will lead to another, like very, very different outcomes depending on your choice. But it definitely indicates a choice. So it's interesting that first card we got, that Two of Air, was all about decision making, and then now we have this central card like confirming that there is a choice that needs to occur and that you need to make this month. And I feel, as a clarifier for the Nine of Water, it's saying that when you make this choice, you will really feel that optimistic energy come through. You know, you'll feel that freedom of having made that choice. Then for the Two of Water, which was about potentially new love or some kind of reciprocal situation, relationship, you have the Three of Cups. So this card, going from the 2 to 3, is interesting. Does indicate that this will be a month of some kind of enjoyment with those that you love and those that are beneficial for you and that you hold dear. So potentially even this new love could be a friend or from a friendship group, or even maybe you're talking to your friends about your decision, or there's some energy here with friends and friendship groups as well. Or even a friend is talking to you about their situation as well. Then for the Eight of Fire, which is all that energy coming in, you've actually got the Ten of Wands. So this is a little bit slower energy here. It does have that energy of feeling really exhausted. You've been working really hard towards something and you've put in so much effort and so much work, and you haven't really been seeing the results. I do see that Eight of Fire giving you the energy to keep going, because ultimately I think you will get there, but there is that sense of exhaustion. So please remember, with that Four of Swords at the crown, to do things that restore your nervous system. And then for the Seven of Fire at the base, you have the Page of Pentacles. So there's some kind of new financial opportunity coming in. And this Seven of Fire was the energy of, you know, feeling the need to defend yourself. So it is important that you do defend yourself, obviously. But by doing this, you'll find there'll be some kind of new opportunity coming in on the material plane. Then for the Star, we actually have the Hanged Man to clarify, which is interesting because we had that card earlier. So you've got the Hanged Man here twice for the month of August. And I did feel like there could be some challenging energies with that Venus and Neptune opposition, potentially challenging your Gemini placement. And I actually wonder if I'm picking up on that a little bit here. We did have that Venus with the Lovers card in the center. There's a Venus energy there, and even with the Pentacles can be linked as well, and the Swords. However, the Hangman is often linked to Neptune, so it's got the Pisces energies with it. So I get the feeling here, thinking about that going on, and then having these cards to confirm. So not only do we have the Hanged Man with the Knight of Pentacles, but then we also have the Star with the Hanged Man. Just be careful, obviously, because so challenges from Venus generally aren't too bad because it's a benefic planet. But it can mean just things like overeating, or especially like yummy foods, like very Venusian foods, or overspending, especially on items that, you know, might seem really, you know, kind of out there, really, like on a Venusian level, but something that maybe later on you won't even really like it that much, but at the time you thought it was fantastic, or something like that. And especially having that Neptune as well. So the negative Neptune energies are around like kind of delusionary kind of energies. So I do think that you need to be careful of that. Obviously it might not be aspecting very strongly, so, you know, you might not need to be too worried, but because you have all this important decision making going on, you might just feel like, oh, I just need a day to just, you know, indulge myself and whatever, and that's fine. But yeah, just be careful of like being too indulgent. Yeah, especially because of that potential challenge from Venus and also from Neptune as well. But yeah, having the star clarified by the Hangman to me is saying that yes, you have all these hopes and wishes, but potentially even you might either have too much, so you might need to kind of sacrifice some of those wishes and hopes, because maybe you need to kind of cut to the most important ones, or something like that. Yeah, don't get too lost in the hoping and the wishing, but it is a good time to say meditate and focus on what it is you do want, and like I said, maybe even write it down. You know, try and be, because often Mercury ruled people do like to write as well, so, and I find it a good way to center the mind, to calm the mind. Okay, the next cards I have for you are the Shaman Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck, you have the Spirit of Nurture. So the Spirit of Nurture's energies are around shelter, foundation, ancestral strength, restoration in time of trial, renewal, help in time of need, support, strength, and nourishment of body, mind, and spirit. So that's interesting because we kind of have had some of those energies as well. So that's the shadow energy of that deck for you for the month. The crowning card, you have the Spirit of Destruction. Wow. And that's for the Ace of Air with the Four of Swords. And then for the central card, you have the Spirit of Love. And that's for the Nine of Water with the Lovers. And then for the base card, you have the Shaman of Stars. And that's for the Seven of Fire with the Page of Pentacles. So the crowning card, the Spirit of Destruction. Its energies are around destruction of damaging emotions, freedom leading to calm, anger, frustration, power lost and power regained, annihilation of spiritual blockages, and letting go. So, wow, that's fascinating. And the central card is that Spirit of Love. Its energies are around love in every aspect, human and divine, transformation, reversal, betrayal, enlightenment, warmth, courage, belief, transcendence, longing, and fulfillment. And the base of the matter here is the Shaman of Stars. So the Shaman of Stars is linked to starry wisdom, recognizing ancestral paths and relationships, transformative energy, changes in direction, reassessment, and awareness of higher purpose. So that's fascinating because we do have that star card here at the end, and with the Hanged Man, it's such a spiritual connection. So the star card is linked to the sign of Aquarius and the Hanged Man is linked to the sign of Pisces, and they are neighboring signs and they do work quite well together. You know, one's very spiritual, one's very emotional, but they do blend quite beautifully. So that's really interesting as your base energies there. And then you have the next deck I have for you is the Mists of Avalon Oracle, and on the bottom of the deck we have the White Spring, whose energies are around energy, gratitude, protection, and healing. Interesting. So it is a month of healing for you. Your crowning card is Sacred Union. Vitality, fertility, sexuality, and growth. And that's for the spirit of destruction. So that was about destroying the things that, you know, aren't great in your life. And then the central card, you have Blueduet, and her energies are around renewal, freedom, manifestation, and authenticity. And she's linked to the spirit of love. And then the base of the matter is Bridget, and her energies are radiance, passion, birth, and soul empowerment. It's interesting because it says birth about her, and then in this card there are children as well. The Page of Pentacles can also mean a child. So maybe you're pregnant. The child could be of the earth sign or have significant earth houses or earth ruling planets in their chart, but they don't have to be. They could just be of that kind of practical earthy kind of nature. Potentially that could be going on there too. Or even it doesn't have to be a child. It can also be something you're creating and something you're bringing birth to in the world, like some kind of project or a business or something you're nurturing. The next deck I have for you is the Ancestral Oracle of the Celts, and on the bottom of the deck for you we have the Tracker. The Tracker says you have already seen the tracks but maybe not recognize them consciously. Scrutinize the evidence and watch the signs. A great change is coming, but what you long for has to be sought out. Be ready. Blend into the background as you wait. Seek assistance from those who support you or draw upon their special skills. I follow the unnoticed signs in order to find my quarry. So that's the shadow energies for you for the month from that deck, which was reminding me very much of that Two of Air and the Hierophant. Even the Strength of Magician was coming through there too. The crowning card for you is the Initiator. Only you can welcome the next phases. Whatever seemed dormant begins to move rapidly now. Whatever the outcome, be sure that it will involve change. A move of place, job, or condition of life is being heralded. Being part of things is better than standing aside. I find the openings and bring the changes so that potentialities can grow. So that's with this Sacred Union, the Initiator. Your central card is the Maiden. Tread intentionally towards your goal. The more you put into this, the nearer you will be to succeeding. Someone loves you and is striving to come closer, so show some encouragement. If there is disapproval of your actions, then keep faith secretly. I am the beauty at the heart of everything created. And that's with this Blueduet energy here. And And the base of the matter for you this month is the Druid. Hold firmly to what you believe and things will clarify. The guidance you seek comes from an authoritative source. Sometimes your beliefs isolate you into feeling unusual. Find your spiritual family, the ones who share your outlook, in order to enter a clearer relationship with your deeply held views. I hallow all within the circle of life by my devotion. And that's for Bridget here at the bottom. The last deck of cards I have for you for the month of August are the Moon Witch Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck, I have here Witch's Hat. Express yourself and share your gifts with the world. The crowning card is 13. Divine Feminine, step into your power. Even if you're not a female, you can still express or channel, use your feminine energies. And your central card is Freya. You are worthy. You are loved. And that's with the Maiden. And then base of the matter, Curiosity. Wow, what a Gemini card. What sparks your interest? And that's with the Druid. So these are the cards that I have for you for the month of August, Gemini. I think it's going to be an interesting month. It's quite an interesting reading, and interesting in a Gemini way, with the decision making and that Lover's card in the center. Even that Curiosity card on the bottom here. So if you made it this far and you got anything out of the reading, if you could like, comment, or subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. If you already have, thank you so much. I'm really grateful for all the lovely likes and shares and comments and subscribes here on my channel. I'm really enjoying growing this space so I can continue to put more readings out for you guys. And yeah, have a great month ahead. I'm really wishing you all the best. I don't really see any particularly negative energies here. So yeah, I could do a little bit of a sweep here on maybe the decision making, like try and clear the energies here to make the decision a bit easier in the way that you need it to go anyway. For your highest path, and also the Hanged Man energy. There was a bit of that too, which I was saying it could be that Neptune, it could be a Neptune square or the Venus square. So yeah, just be aware of that. Those energies. Oh, also the Ten of Wands. There was a bit of energy there too. So take care, Gemini, and have a great month ahead. Okay, bye.